In this video, we're going to learn how to use transitions from N-Transitions Premiere Pro extension like a pro. General features. Before we start showing in detail the capabilities of the N-Transitions Premiere Pro extension, first take a quick look at these capabilities. And here is a very unexpected and cool news for you. We've developed a unique and highly flexible extension, the features of which are currently unique to the market. Most importantly, all of these features solve real-life problems in Premiere Pro workflow and speed up your video editing process. We try to take into account all groups of users of Premiere Pro, from beginners to super pros, and put the corresponding capabilities into the work of the N-Transitions Premiere Pro extension. First of all, the extension allows you to use both the automatic method of adding a transition to the timeline and the ability to add the selected transition manually. At the same time, the automatic method has a default mode as well as an alternative mode. And each of these methods has other super useful and unique features such as work with any sequence resolution, any pixel aspect ratio, and any frame rate, and the ability to use any transition speed without any additional actions. Considering also the most diverse package of transitions, all this makes our product a truly unique solution for the market and users of Premiere Pro. Now, let's move on to a detailed examination of these possibilities. Using the default method. By default, the extension has a default workflow in which the transition is imported into the project and then automatically added to the timeline. In our example, we use a pre-prepared simple timelines so that the main focus of the tutorial is on functionality. So let's go. For the correct operation, we need to set the time indicator to the position in the middle of the two clips exactly where they merge. Now, let's apply the transition. We will use the page flip transition from the box category. Great, this is good as an example. Single click on the transition icon on the direction we need. Some of the magic and the transition is on the timeline already. Now let's check if the transition works. It works perfectly. Now let's check what is in the N-Transitions P Pro folder in the project panel. This contains two root folders, Assets and Core Transitions, and inside these folders there is a transparent subfolder structure. The System folder contains items that are necessary for the functioning of the transitions from our pack. These files will be common for all transitions with the same sequence settings, the settings of which you can see as part of names of these files. So for convenience, all parameters are separated by brackets. The first parameter is the sequence resolution. The second is the sequence frame rate. The third parameter is the pixel aspect ratio. And the fourth is fields, PS abbreviated for progressive scan. This applies to all the names of the transitions. And of course, as you can imagine, all this means that in one project, you can use transitions for sequences with different settings at the same time without any conflicts. Any transition speed. With the cool feature of our extension, you can easily add a transition at the speed that you need. Let's put this to test. First, put the time indicator in the right place. Now, in our selected transition category, turn on speed control and select a more suitable speed based on the preview. Yeah, 50% looks just fine. That's 2 times faster. Make a click to lock the selected speed. Now click the transition icon. As we can see, the transition is now shorter. Let's remove the transition at the original speed and have a look at the preview of the faster version. Excellent. Visually, it really looks faster. This way, you can use whatever speed you want. This does not affect the transitions already added to the timeline, as you can use custom speed. To do this, you need to enable custom speed option and enter the required speed. Please keep in mind that this option is global, and if enabled, it overrides the local speed. So turn it on only when needed. Oh, one more point. For convenience and to avoid conflicts, our extension adds a speed parameter to the name of the transition in the project panel. Let's see this based on the existing transitions in the project. As you can see, the name has a speed indicator with the letter S. Therefore, you can always find the required transition configuration. Works with any resolution. In this tutorial, we showed an example based on resolution 1920 by 1080. However, the structure and system of our transition presets with the help of the extension functionality allows using presets at any resolution. The extension imports an already prepared transition with the necessary parameters into the project. Let's open a previously prepared sequence with a vertical Full HD resolution, that is 1080 by 1920. Set the time indicator. Now let's add the transition that we used in the examples earlier. This actually works for a different resolution. Now let's examine the project panel and see what has changed. As we can see, the project now has a transition with vertical resolution parameters, as well as the items necessary for the transition to work. Everything works within the same project. Works with any pixel aspect ratio. We know that there are many video standards in the world, and each project may have certain specifications. That is why we have included in our extension and presets the ability to work with any pixel aspect ratio. Our extension reads the settings of the active sequence and prepares a transition set for this format. As before, everything automatically adjusts to your requirements, and you do not need to do anything at all. Let's consider this with another example. As you can see, a different pixel aspect ratio is specified in the settings of this sequence. In particular, the standard D1/DV NTSC, and also has a different value in the field property, upper field first. This is just an example. You can use whatever standard you need. The extension will automatically adapt the transition to this. Okay, let's add a transition and check if it works. Yep, the transition works and looks amazing. Thus, one more feature in the piggy bank of flexibility. Works with any frame rate. As you already understood, the possibilities of Aim-Transitions Premiere Pro extension are truly unique. And probably the most unique opportunity on the market is automatic FPS conversion. Aim Transitions P-Pro extension adapts the transition preset to any frame rate of your sequence. Do you think this is impossible? But we were really able to develop it and implement it. Well, let's start testing it. Let's open the sequence with the name Sequence Test 60 FPS. And make sure that it really has 60 frames per second in the settings. Yeah, it really has 60 FPS in the settings. Now let's add the transition we are using throughout this tutorial. Done. Transition is now on the timeline. Let's check how it works. Boom! The transition works perfectly. Now let's make sure that the transition components are indeed 60 frames per second. To do this, go to the project panel and find the transition. As we can see, now the project has a version of the transition where the name contains 60 FPS. Highlight this, mouse right click, and click on Sequence Settings. As we can see, this has 60 frames per second. Let's open this transition in the timeline. Now let's see the details of the clip. Mouse right click and then Properties. A window with the specification appeared, which confirms that the transition is adapted for 60 FPS. Keyframes, of course, also adapt to a specific frame rate. We were able to technically solve very difficult things in our product. And these are unique things for Premiere Pro, which will allow you to simplify and speed up your editing workflow while using high quality transitions. So this video tutorial for this section is over. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates on new products and offers.